Welcome to another exciting edition of Valerie's Kitchen. Today, we're going to do what I call turkey neck stew. The good thing about a stew is you can put almost anything you want to put in it. But today, I'm going to show you what I put in my turkey neck stew. Okay? So, of course, we start with turkey necks. Okay? That's about 5 pounds of turkey necks is what I have here. Now, I've already cleaned them. So I washed them this morning with water. And then you have to let them marinate. So what I marinate mine with is I take a whole bottle of pepper sauce. You can do vinegar if you want, but I do pepper sauce because it gives it a little kick and a little more flavor. So I take a whole bottle, empty it on. After I wash them, I pour a whole bottle over the turkey necks. Then I take a tablespoon of salt and about 2 teaspoons of pepper. And I use sea salt, sprinkle over it, stir it up really good, and let it marinate. Now, this has been marinating since for about 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours is good, okay? Okay. Then I have my chopped garlic. That's 5 garlic cloves. That is flour. Okay, just a little bit. That's just to help thicken everything up. Okay, only use a little bit of that. And we have, that's about 1/4 of a cup of green onions. I'm not going to use all of those, but I am going to use some green onions. I got a 1/4 cup of bell pepper. I got a 1/2 cup of red bell pepper and a 1/2 cup of green bell pepper. Now, if you want to, I always use the green, but you can substitute the red for like yellow or the orange bell pepper, whichever flavor you like on that. And that's a cup of chopped onion, okay? This is chicken broth, and we use enough to cover. This right here is about 6 cups, but you use enough to cover. So when you finish, you'll have enough broth to cover your turkey necks. And we cook it in a Dutch oven. This is the Dutch oven that I use right here, okay? All right, so to brown, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to brown my turkey necks, or some of you might call it sear it. I'm gonna sear them in bacon grease. That's right, bacon grease. Bacon grease is gonna give you a rich, decadent flavor. So you use the bacon grease. I use about a 1/2 cup of bacon grease. It's already heated on the stove. I'll put it back on here, but I've already been preheating it. And you're gonna preheat your oven to 285 degrees, okay? So my oven is already preheated because we're gonna bake these after we sear all of them, okay? So now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take my turkey necks, put them in the grease, turn my grease back up. And what you do is, you're going to let them brown on one side, then you're going to flip them over, let them brown on the other side. You try to brown them on all sides, is what your goal is, okay? So it's going to take it probably about 10 minutes on this side. Then when you go to the other side, it normally takes a little less time, probably about 5 minutes on the other side. But you want to make sure you brown the turkey necks on 2 sides. And then, like this little one, you only have to do like 2 sides. But on these thick ones like this, you're probably gonna have to, depending on how shallow your dish is, you may have to do more than 2 sides on them, okay? But you'll be able to judge it as it goes. And I like these big, the fat turkey necks, got more meat on them, okay? More meat, and I like that. But the little ones are good as well, because sometimes you can't find the big turkey neck. The fat ones, you have to use the little ones. The skinny ones, rather. But you see there, the grease is nice and hot. I can tell you now, these skinny ones, you're only gonna have to brown them on two sides. But these thick fat ones, you're gonna have to probably flip them on more than two sides, okay? So we're gonna let these brown for 10 minutes and then we'll come back. About 10 minutes. So we're gonna flip them over. See how nice and brown it is? Okay. Flip it over. And let it cook another 10 minutes. It's 5 minutes now. The reason you have to do 10 minutes that first time is because when you first put these in the grease, it cools the grease down a little bit, the bacon grease. So, but now, it's cooking now. And I do cook these on medium. So, if you're wondering what temperature I use medium. So these are only going to take about 5 minutes on each side. And look like I'm only going to probably have to do a third turn on these big ones. But after they turn, I'm going to take these out. After 5 more minutes, I'm going to take them out, put them in my Dutch oven, and put my Dutch oven in the oven. So they'll stay warm. They won't cool down. So, and they'll be okay in the oven, in the Dutch oven. What you're going to do, you're just going to add just a little broth to coat the bottom of the Dutch oven, okay? Just a little bit. And when those are done, put them in here, stick them in the oven. Then you're going to repeat until all of your turkey necks are done, or browned rather. Okay, so, our last batch is done. My first batch, I've already put them in the oven, letting them stay warm. So when I put the broth in there, I just put enough broth to cover the bottom. You don't need a lot. You just want enough so they don't dry out while they're in there. So we're going to take the last batch out. We're going to lay them in there real nice and neat. Fill in every little gap. Because it's going to be like 2 layers is what it's going to be like. 2 layers of turkey neck. Ooh, come on now. Could have let this one brown a little bit more, but it's okay. We're going to go ahead. We're going to go with it. I'm pressed for time a little bit. Okay? So that's what that looks like. So we're going to take them quickly. So I don't want my grease to get scorched. Put it back in the oven. So now you're going to put your onions in now. You're going to saute these onions, bell pepper, now if you want, you can add about 1/4 cup of celery if you like. I just chose not to today, but sometimes I use celery. Now I want to try to scrape all that out the bottom. I want all of that. What's in that spatula? So I'm trying to get all those drippings from the bottom. That's good. That's some flavor right there. You got to get all that from at the bottom if you can. As much of it as you can get. So now we're going to add our garlic. And we're going to add the green onions. Okay. I'm going to save the rest of the green onions to garnish on top. So it's about 1/4 cup, but I only use about 3 tablespoons of it. Get that much. 2 to 3 tablespoons. Let that saute for about a minute. Only a minute. Okay? And if you had celery, you would put your celery in with your onion and the bell peppers. That's what you wanted. Now, remember I have this flour. We're going to add that in a minute. I didn't tell you about this in the beginning. I have some thyme. You can use anywhere from 1 to 3 sprigs, however much thyme you want to use. Because it can be overpowering if you put too much in there. So I'm probably going to use 2 sprigs today. I am going to use 2. I'm going to use these 3 bay leaves. And this right here, all this is salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, the basic. I'm going to add some of that in, about half of that in there. This is about a tablespoon of each. About a tablespoon of salt, tablespoon of onion powder, tablespoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of black pepper is what I have in here. Okay? Okay, so now
What kind of flour is that?
this is self-rising flour. So I'm gonna put about 2 tablespoons of self-rising flour in here. I'm adding it to this. Let it brown a little bit while it's in there. Just to help thicken it up. Okay. And then, it's starting to stick a little bit, but that's okay. You don't mind that flour at the bottom browning, because it's gonna make your gravy a little bit darker. Now, this is the juice or the drippings from when we had the turkey necks and the pepper sauce. The pepper sauce marinating. So I'm gonna take that juice. I'm not gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna add that now. Okay? Because that pepper sauce is a lot of flavor up in that pepper sauce. Stir that in there real good. Now, we're gonna pour about 2 cups of that chicken broth in here. Stir it up that good. Try to make sure you get the lumps out. You can use a wire whisk or you can use a spoon. So it's not lumpy. I just use a spoon. Okay. Now, I'm going to take my Dutch oven out, finish it up, go and put it in the oven and let it cook. So you're going to take all this and pour it. Pour it over there. So you're through with that. And remember I told you you're going to add the rest of your chicken broth, enough to cover it. This is about 6 cups. Now, if you want to put a little bit more, you can. It's up to you. But that's about 6 cups. Now we're going to just make sure the vegetables get down in there. Okay. It's already looking good. You're going to add a little bit of your seasoning. Now, I don't add all of it at once. What I do is I add about half of it before I cook it. And then halfway through cooking, I taste it. After about an hour of cooking, I taste that gravy just to see what it tastes like. See if the flavor is like I like it. If it is, I just let it keep cooking. If not, I'll add a little bit more of that seasoning to it. So now, you're just going to place your bay leaves, 1 on each side and 1 in the middle. And then I told we're going to use about 2 sprigs of that thyme. You hear my grandson? I think I'm going to use all 3. I'm going to go and put 3 sprigs in there. Okay? Okay. You want to watch Mickey Mouse? You put the top on it. Ooh, that's hot. I forgot. I almost burned my fingers. Okay, you're going to put the top on it. You're going to put it in the oven. Again, your oven is 285 degrees. And you're going to set your oven or your clock, your watch, or whatever you have, your phone, to 2 hours. And you're going to let it cook for 2 hours. About an hour in, you're going to go back and you're going to taste that gravy to see if it's the broth, see if it's where you like it. If it is, just let it cook another hour. Also, about 1.5 hours in, if you want to add potatoes and carrots, that is the time to add the potatoes and carrots. About an hour and 15 to about an hour and a half in, you're going to add your potatoes and your carrots or any other vegetables you want. You can add pieces of corn. Like you can take the corn, the half of a corn on a cob, cut it in half. You can stick that in there if you want. And, you know, whatever you like. Okay? So now, it's cooking now, y'all. We'll see you back in 2 hours. All right, we're back. It's been about 2 hours. Woo! Heat. Powerful coming out of there. All right, let's take a look. Oh, look at that. And remember, this is like a stew, so the gravy is not gonna be as thick as it is as if you're doing something like steak and gravy and you want the gravy real thick. This is more like a stew. So you could have put potatoes and corn. I didn't want that, so I've done it before, but this time I didn't want to do that. So you know, with your stew, you like your little rice. Get me a couple of those turkey necks. Well, I'm going to get just one. Just one. Then I'm going to get that juice. Put that juice up. Ooh, look at that. See, that juice is nice. That gravy, that broth is nice. It's not greasy. It's nice. It's nice. Get out of my turnip greens, please. It's another day, another step. Okay, so the thing I like to do with mine is I like to take a little of this pepper sauce. Because this is like a Cajun stew. I sprinkle a little of that on it. Told you I was going to save some of these green onions for garnish. Just a little bit. I put my cornbread in little bite sizes. Cut it up in little bite sizes. Don't that look delicious? Now let's see what it tastes like. Hot. And y'all know you're supposed to eat turkey necks with your hands. Look how tender that is. You can't eat turkey necks with a fork. You gotta eat them turkey necks with your fingers. So you gotta let it cool a little bit. Just some of that cornbread in there. Another home run. I knocked that one out of the park. That is delicious. So you guys go and try this recipe. If you like it, let me know. And I need you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You guys have a nice evening. Thank you for joining.